Welcome to the Insomnia Project. Sit back, relax, chill, listen, and just let everything in your mind melt away. This is the podcast where we talk about mundane things so you can just listen and float away. I'm your host, Marco Timpano.
I'm your co-host today. I'm Amanda Barker.
Amanda, our napkin episode seems to have resonated with a lot of people. We've gotten a lot of people saying they really enjoyed that episode.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You know, it's interesting. I was speaking to another friend who said she always tells me she loves the pickle episode that I did with Nitty.
Okay.
Because it went in many different directions, in directions they didn't anticipate, because it went from pickles in a jar to pickling wood.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
So they enjoyed that episode.
Amazing.
And then we had someone say, don't talk about food because it keeps me up. So
I get it.
We're going to try our best. And then I texted back, or I tweeted back and said, food just comes up. And they're like, we get it. We get it. So
it
thank you.
It comes up in our minds when we're lying down too. I mean, as you know, I used to be a yoga teacher. Mm-hmm. I used to teach Nitty yoga, and now she's a yoga teacher. And I hesitate because I say teach, guide. I never thought of it as a teacher, more as a guide. Mm-hmm. Anyway, and I remember one class, I said, I always struggle with Shavasana. I don't think I said it in class. I think I said it after class to one of the students who said, I'm having a hard time with Shavasana.
And what is Shavasana for our listeners? So
Shavasana is when you're lying down and at the end of class, it's that full corpse pose. So just lying, connecting to the ground, the wood, whatever you're lying on your mat. And he said, I'm having a really hard time. And I said, yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've lied there and trying to drift off. And inevitably my brain goes to the contents of my fridge. And what am I going to make for food?
Sure.
And so then he said, oh, that's interesting. That never happens to me. I said, oh, that's my go-to. And so the next class afterwards, I said, so how was it? And he said, well, then I lied there and I thought, this is when Amanda thinks about the food in her fridge. And then he thought about that for the rest of the corpse post. So yeah, anyway, I get it. I totally get it.
Veering away from that whole fridge area.
I think for me, that was because it was, it's an organizational thing.
Right.
What can I create with what I have?
Right. I want to talk about hoses.
Oh, okay.
So we need a hose.
So tell me, do we not have one here?
We have a hose here.
Oh, we do.
But the problem with hoses or the hoses that we happen to have, is that
hoses.
Like
that sounds like we're saying it wrong, but I think that is right.
Garden hoses.
Yeah.
Is what I'm talking about.
Not a hoe.
No, I'm talking about garden hoses.
Yeah.
So, although we don't need a garden hoe, we don't
have enough garden to hoe.
We don't have enough garden for that. But so I, at the conjunction point, or the point, I don't know if it's called a conjunction point, but the point where you screw the hose to the tap.
Okay.
When I turn on the hose, water seems to
spurts out of it.
And it is frustrating.
Okay.
But it's not the end of the world, because it's not like a huge amount of water comes from there. So It's not the best hose, or perhaps the hose, maybe I left it outside and it froze, or who knows with that hose. I don't think I bring that hose inside and put it under the stairs in the little cubby we have under the stairs. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Maybe it was just a poor quality hose.
Okay.
But as we do, we have it on the shopping network often.
The shopping channel.
Here in Canada. And they were selling a metal hose.
And that was, I don't know what it is about the shopping channel today, if I'm just more ready to buy. Everything I saw this morning, you left it on. You put it on the shopping channel last night.
Yeah, because otherwise, I've said this before, if I switch from watching to regular television, everything else is too stimulating.
So anyway, it was on this morning, and you brought me a coffee, which I appreciated so much.
I couldn't froth the oat milk. Oat milk is hard to froth.
Yeah, it's funny. We were thinking that about almond and soy milk, and now those milks seem to be fine.
But
almond seems to be a superstar frother because you know why? I shake the carton first.
Oh, I shake the carton.
Oh, do you?
Like it's a paint can at Home Depot.
Well, that's fine. We don't always need our milk froth, you know? Sometimes in life you don't always get the froth. You just get the milk, and that's the August you're having.
I think sometimes you can appreciate the froth more when you don't always get the froth.
You know, there's something to be said for that.
But you were saying.
So I turned it on TSC, or I turned on the TV and it was on TSC.
You'd think TSC would be sponsoring this podcast. They should, for the amount of time we talk about their station.
We should be hosts on TSC.
You would be a great host.
I love watching them. I love connecting with them. I would love to be a host on TSC, to be honest. Anyhow, so because I actually really just enjoy a lot of the products, not all of them, but I see the value in them. I see the merit in them. They have some very good products.
You're also a good shopper. You like to shop.
Really?
I think you're a good shopper.
In any event, I turned it on and they were selling smartly winter coats, like down jackets. Mm-hmm. And I went, oh, I think I need a new one because last year my down jacket, actually the ones they were selling were not made with down.
Okay.
So there's no animal product, which appealed to me.
Sure.
However, my last jacket is a down jacket, and I stood too close. This always happens with them. I stood too close to the fire at the cottage and scorched the back. And so everywhere I go leaves a trail of feathers.
It's not fun, folks. So we have a gas fireplace, and Amanda wanted to heat herself up.
We had just turned it on, and I just stood with my back to it seconds.
And you pressed the coat against.
I didn't know I was pressing the coat. I was too cold to know it was touching.
And so it melted the fabric onto the glass fireplace.
Which is still there, isn't it?
Yes. I need to figure out how to remove that. So that already wasn't pleasant because it made a malodorous smell and a smear.
I was like, what's that smell? Oh, no. And realized.
And then everywhere Amanda walked, feathers were a trail behind you, including in our car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I tried to get all the feathers out of that sort of pocket, that area, but they just keep coming.
No.
So I'm wondering if it's time to just release that jacket to the wild and get a new one. So anyway, they had a fluorescent highlighter yellow one.
Okay.
And I might go for it.
Wow, that's bold.
Yeah, well, they have the same one, I think, in red. And you know what I love about those down
What do you love about down jackets? Because you're a big proponent of down jackets.
I love them because they're lightweight. They take up very little storage space, which is, for me, a big thing. And they usually come with a little bag. So when I go to see my parents in Florida, or
when you say a bag, you mean like at the hood, they can tuck into themselves, right? There's
sometimes the bag's attached, sometimes it isn't.
Oh, I see.
I think the one I have, it is attached, and which means it kind of finds its way out all the time. So I'm like walking around with a bag coming out of my neck. But anyway.
Does fluorescent yellow have a bag? So
this fluorescent yellow one has taken it a step further.
Okay.
And they have a neck pillow. So it's not just a bag that I use as a neck pillow on the plane. This one is a proper, like, donut neck pillow that not donut, like horseshoe.
Sure.
That you use, in the car or for the plane. And that's what I love about those jackets is that they go into this little tiny pillow, and then you have a pillow when you don't need the jacket, which I love when you're traveling from somewhere cold to somewhere warm, because then now you have a pillow on the plane, so you don't need to have that with you. And they fold up into nothing, so they don't take up, versus a big, huge wool coat, or going to the airport shivering. And then, you don't have a coat when you come back either. So anyway, this
might not be a challenge you face, listeners, if you live in warm climates, but it's a challenge.
Or if you don't travel a lot, which many of us haven't.
But some people
even past little while.
It's great to have in the car. Let's say you're going on a bit of a road trip, right? You can fold it up and have it.
Or at home, like just as a 2-for-1 thing, little neck pillow or coat.
I doubt you're going to fold up your coat at home and use it as a neck
If
pillow.
you are a true minimalist, you might. And there are many out there that listen to this podcast.
Clearly, we are not, because if you look in our closet, we are not minimalists.
Okay.
I think you should get this coat. I think
So
this
there's
coat
one
is...
in red.
Okay.
There's some muted colors, but there's red, and then which is a little bit of a different style. And then there's this highlighter yellow one.
Get the one that makes you happy.
But they also have boots, Marco. And my boots are from Value Village. And I got them at Value Village, which is a secondhand store, for those who don't know. I got those boots like 4 or 5 years ago, so they were already used.
Are they matching boots to the...
They're not matching,
okay.
no. I mean, who am I? But they do have nice winter boots.
Get them. Just get them.
So I might just splurge and buy these things and set myself up for a nice highlighter yellow cozy winter.
If it means you're not shedding feathers, I'll be happy.
Well, even if I make the same mistake, there's no feathers in the coat.
Okay.
So... which, again, not that I love synthetic things, but
sure.
It does mean that there's no animal product, which I think I would prefer if it does the same thing as a down coat, because down is so magical in that it's lightweight and yet so warm.
Right.
So anyway, those, and then...
Yes.
Coming back to the topic at hand, or supposed to be at hand, you came up the stairs, it was still on, and then they were looking at LED lights. And then the same woman started, this woman has a house in Florida, I guess. It looks like my parents' house. And I'm always stunned because it's like, you're going to be on TV. But anyway, just her chairs, like they're mismatched.
Don't judge this woman's chairs. She's busy. She's got a life. Sometimes you have the chairs that you have.
Okay. Anyway, so she's in her house and then she's in her backyard and she's selling these hoses.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes,
so they
which
have
caught my
a
eye.
steel hose, a bionic steel hose. Do you want to talk about it?
I do. Well, my thing is...
Now we're just selling products for TSC.
No, but here's the thing.
These are the things we're going to buy later today, friends.
You described what's important to you in a coat. You like it to be foldable, warm, light, and for some reason, very bright.
Mm-hmm. Well, not always, but
that's the
I think
mood.
it's safer to have a bright coat.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Listen, don't get me wrong. I support
If I get lost in the wilderness, you're going to find that highlighter yellow.
When was the last time you walked in the wilderness? Okay. So I support that and I respect it because you need to know what you value in a coat. Mm-hmm. For me, and I'll get to the hose in a moment, I like a coat with a strong zipper.
Okay.
I like a coat that has a lot of coverage. Okay. So if you can cover lower than my waist, I'm happy in the winter.
A culo cover.
Yes. And that means bum in Italian. So Amanda, always bringing that to the forefront.
Bringing what? Italianness?
No, well, anyways.
Or bums?
I'm trying to cover myself. I want coverage, full coverage in the winter. But in the fall, I like a leather jacket, and it can be faux leather. Mm-hmm. So, respecting animals in their place. Though I don't have a problem wearing leather, but I happen to have a really nice faux leather designer jacket your mother got me. Mm-hmm. And it just feels good when I zip it up. The zipper is strong, and the leather is strong, and it's a nice, rich brown.
Listen, my mom knows a coat.
She knows a coat.
She does. She knows a good jacket. And they have no need for any because they live in a warm climate.
Also, a nice pocket, a nice lined pocket, and lined on the inside. Yes, that's the coat I like. Now, for the garden hose, I need a strong garden hose that's easy to attach to the tap, but not so loose or flimsy that the joints will leak water. Mm-hmm. I need a hose that can take a bit of handling and roughness because oftentimes I'm stretching the hose, and my concern with the metal hose is if it kinks, does the kink bend into the hose and stay bent? Because I've had other hoses.
Apparently it doesn't kink.
Really?
Well, this is what the salespeople say. They say they've run over it with a car. They say they've jammed it in a door. They've done everything to try and make it kink.
I don't want a kink in my hose. That's all I'm going to say. And I want it to be multifunctional and long enough. And this is a 75-foot hose. Mm-hmm. So I think I want to get that too.
I think we're going shopping.
I guess we are. Speaking of shopping, we talk about Amanda's love for magazines. Mm-hmm. And if you love magazines, please let us know the magazines that come to your home. because we have about 15 that come to our home. Bon appetit.
Decor.
House and home.
Chatelaine. Canadian Living. Toronto Life.
Don't we have Claire Danes or Marie Claire or something like that coming to our... Don't we have Marie Claire?
Is that even a magazine anymore?
Oh, okay. I thought we did.
Claire Danes, magazine.
If Claire Danes had a magazine, would you subscribe to it?
Well, no.
If she talked about coats in her magazine?
I'll be honest. Yeah. I know Gwyneth Paltrow gets a lot of...
flack?
A lot of flack. But if she had a magazine that would be delivered to my home, maybe she probably does, I would probably subscribe to it.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie.
Because you subscribed to Oprah, but she stopped her...
She stopped... Well, I think it's like quarterly or something now. I don't know. Yeah, I did. I had Oprah for a while.
And then we get Costco magazine. So how many magazines is that?
Oh, I don't know. Decor, 1. House and Home, 2. I think there's House and Home and then House Beautiful.
Yeah. You get both of those. You get a lot of those housey magazines.
I think there's House and Home.
Okay.
Decor and House and Home, for sure. Bon Appetit. HG, we forgot this one, Food Magazine from the HGTV network.
Which we both don't enjoy, but we like to make fun of.
No, we kind of enjoy it. Okay. Some days. Then we also get the HGTV House Magazine. Mm-hmm. I forgot about that one. Chatelaine, Canadian Living. Oh, my God. Toronto Life. That's 8. Oh, my God, 8.
And we're looking to subscribe to Claire Danes' new magazine. Okay, so that's eight magazines we get. But listeners, you might not know this about Amanda.
I get 8 magazines a month.
Amanda gets a packet delivered to her every month.
I do.
Called Ipsy.
Wow, we're just... It's like we're influenced. You would think we make money from this podcast.
We are like anti-influencers. We never post about these things.
We are. We're like influencers, this podcast. This is all unintentional.
Amanda gets a little bundle of makeup delivered every month.
I do. And for the record, I've been reached out to a few times on Instagram to promote some products, but that's not my jam, so I don't do that.
Right. For the record, I have not. So, Amanda, you have makeup that comes every month.
I do. It's Ipsy. It's one of those makeup subscriptions. Listen, it is truly a guilty pleasure, and I love it. And I use the stuff. So
you do?
I do. What I actually do like about it is that it's usually smaller stuff. Mm-hmm. So I find I go through it, particularly with like mascaras. They usually do like smaller size mascaras. So I go through one every 3 to 4 months, which is apparently a lot better for your face and eyes to be versus, using the same mascara for a year and a half or whatever. So, which I don't care who you are. Most women are, or people that wear makeup, anyone who wears makeup, women, men, non-binary, whoever you are, oftentimes we keep our makeup far longer than what we're supposed to for like bacterial reasons, unless you're like a makeup artist or something. Like I know I have old lipsticks and stuff. So anyway, so I get a little bag and it's 5 products every month.
She usually curses if there's blush in the bundle.
Oh, do I?
You usually don't want blush.
Highlighter. Yeah, there's like, they went through a phase, they just kept sending me. Now, here's the thing. You can tailor it on the app to what you need or want that month or just what you're feeling. So right now I'm like mascaras for sure because I go through them, lipsticks, there's
moisturizers.
So I went through a primer phase, so I needed primers. Right now, actually, I need foundation, so some of that showed up. So, it depends. It's also great if you travel at all because it's a lot of like cleansers and eye creams, and every now and then I'll get one that I really like, and then I'll go ahead and buy the product.
And they're small. They're small in size.
Usually, yeah.
But they're not large. They're great for travel, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. They're the right size for travel for sure. Hair product. What else do I get from them? Sometimes masks, like face masks, sheet masks,
which Amanda loves to do in hotels. You always bring...
I do. I love taking a bath in a hotel, which I know you hate, but I love taking a bath and putting a mask on. I think it's because when I traveled for 3 years, I was living at a hotels for 3 years, that became a real thing I would look forward to. Like I'd be on stage and then I'd look forward to like my nice bath with a book with a mask on. I'm pretty with my chatelaine or whatever has come in the last time I was home. I'm pretty typical middle-aged lady. I always have been.
Fair enough.
How about you? What do you like to do in hotels? What's something you like to do in hotels?
Okay.
I know we're supposed to be talking about, we've talked about everything but hoses today, I think.
No, I also
covered a bit of a hose
I also
content.
want a hose that allows me that has great water pressure.
Those ones look like they do.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I had the kind of hose that when you turn the water off, it sort of scrunches its way back. So it's kind of like clothy.
Oh, like it compresses itself?
Yeah, it kind of...
How was that?
They're okay.
All right.
They're not as good as I wanted them to be for my
Right.
personal garden hose needs. And so I think some people will find them great. I know my mother likes that kind of a hose. And they're lightweight, which is great. But I don't trust them. And I don't...
Shady hoses.
Yeah, I don't trust them. And so I'm thinking I want this metal kink-free hose.
Okay.
I think it's going to do it for me.
Okay.
So we're gonna try it.
Okay.
We'll get it and we'll see how the
We're
nice
getting
thing.
that, the highlighter yellow coat, the boots. Do you need new boots?
No, I've got boots.
Yeah.
Well, I've got to see if I have a foot brace, and I need to see if my foot brace will get into my old boot.
Oh, that's going to be a whole thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be a thing. So we'll figure that out. And we were talking about things I like to do in a hotel. I like to spray everything down with alcohol and
You
wipe
do.
it.
I always show up with either some sort of antiseptic wipe,
Yes.
one of two companies, and or an antiseptic spray that we spray onto the remotes, onto the door handles.
I spend about 5 minutes spraying everything while Amanda just picks the bed that she's going to sleep on or the,
I start unloading my stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't like it when
Sure.
when you put the suitcase on the bed. That's a big no-no for me.
I don't do that often. I did it once or twice.
I mean, often if we have two beds, we'll sleep in one and the other will become the suitcase holder.
Sure.
But I don't like it because suitcases are dirty.
Yeah, no, you're
They've
right.
touched a lot of dirty things.
You're right. You're 100%
And you don't want
right.
to sleep on a place where you put this dirty, it's like putting dirty shoes on a bed.
You're right, which I don't do.
But the problem is when there's two of you and you both have little carry-ons, which is often the case for us, that's how we travel.
Amanda snags the little foldable.
You snag it.
Okay.
Well, anyways, clearly we both take turns trying to call shotgun or whatever it's called.
Sure.
What is that called when you try to be the first on something?
Yeah. That's what you say, shotgun for driving in the car.
For driving the
Yeah.
car, for driving the front.
Right.
But what do you say when it's like called dibs, I guess?
I guess. So.
Oh, you have no time for this conversation.
No, I don't. Because
Okay.
it's making me look like a person who throws luggages on the bed.
No, I'm just saying it's not a thing I like.
Sure. I want to get back to my hotel thing. So once I've basically...
We should call this episode Hoses and Hotels.
Okay. Even though there's a lot of talk about down jackets. But I'll call it Hoses and Hotels. That's great. Great title.
Hoses, Hotels, and Goose Feathers.
Okay. So I then like to, I feel like my niece right now, I then like to scope out where everything is and then put my clothes into their place so I know where it's going to be.
Yeah.
And then I'll turn on the television.
Yeah.
And I'll watch local channels. And that's what makes me happy.
You love a local news, a local weather, what's happening in this city. Yeah, you do love a local channel.
I just love to see the personalities, the television personalities from local areas and hear about things that are going on.
The blueberry festivals.
Yeah.
The, the waterfront is open today.
Mm-hmm.
Quilting days are happening here in the tri-state area, which everyone calls themselves the tri-state area.
If you live in a tri-state area.
There's a lot of tri-state areas. Do you know that?
But that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
What do you mean?
Because a tri-state area, isn't it like like multiple states.
Well,
So there's going to be.
I guess the newscast could be Ohio, Indiana, Pennsylvania,
right,
or whatever.
But we're not used to that because we don't have the tri-province area because so few of our provinces.
Right, there's no tri-province area.
Right,
it's true. The Maritimes is the closest it gets, but because we used to say Massachusetts, the tri-state area,
sure.
But now I realize most newscasts just refer to themselves as that because they're the newscast for, like you said, for more than one state. But there's no actual place in the States that's known as the tri-state area, I don't think.
If I had a newscast that I was starting, I would just call it the Tri-State Newscast, even if it wasn't in a tri-state area.
We should call this the Insomnia Podcast for the tri-state
The
area.
Tri-State Podcast. So, last thing I want to mention is we have Amanda's birthday is coming up.
It is.
And so I've been looking in the mail for something your mom sent, and there's a little bit of a kerfuffle going on.
Oh, no.
So we're having a little mystery because supposedly it was delivered, but I haven't received it. And so your mother and I have been back and forth trying to Nancy Drew.
Super sleuths.
Yes. And what we've determined, dear listeners, is that the package is still en route.
Oh, it is.
Your mother believes that it's a package that one has to sign for. So since we haven't signed for it, it hasn't yet arrived.
Okay.
And I said to your mother, do you want me to send an email to the company? Because you know me, I'm very determined, I guess is what you could say, when it comes to things like this. And she said, let's just hang on.
Okay.
And we'll see where it lands.
I'm glad you're talking to my mother. I was just thinking I haven't talked to her in a long time.
Yeah, we've been back and forth.
Amazing.
So that's going to be coming in the mail for you too.
If anyone is still with us or still awake, should I conduct a poll over which city I should go to for my birthday?
Sure.
So we're debating between two locations, potentially, to go for my birthday. Well, I guess potentially 3, but...
Short drives.
A short drive, like 1 or 2 day weekend kind of deal. So Detroit is one, Montreal the other. Mm-hmm. There's reasons to do either, so...
Both great cities.
Both amazing cities. In Detroit, we'd go to the art museum, which is such a great art museum, and just go to the little neighborhoods and go to Greektown and all of that. In Montreal, we would go to, there's a outdoor hot spring spa that's amazing. That's out, like there's a boat and then spas next to the boat called Boda Boda.
Yeah, if you're in Montreal, definitely check out Boda Boda.
It's amazing. I've been before, but not at night, and I think it'd be really cool to go to at night.
It's a spa on a boat.
But to be honest, I'd probably do more of the outside stuff.
And attached to it is the boat's garden.
Yeah.
So you can have your spa on the boat.
Yeah.
Or if that's not your thing, the garden next to the boat.
Mm-hmm. Or anyway, yeah, and then we'd go to, either way, we'd go to restaurants.
And there you go.
So there we go. So I'm not sure which. We've been to both cities, but more recently Montreal.
Hang tight, listeners, because when we get our garden hose and our highlighter yellow jacket, we'll take photos and put it on our Instagram. You can follow us on Instagram at The Insomnia Project, on Twitter at Listen and Sleep. You can email us at drumcastproductions@gmail.com. This is all in our show notes. And don't forget, we also have a Patreon page that you can join, and that's patreon.com/The Insomnia Project. Until next time, we hope you listen and sleep.